Okay, ready? Okay, the floor of the cranial cavity, as we know, is divided into three distinct depressions: anterior, middle, posterior. And today we're talking about the posterior. So as we know, the fossas accommodate different parts of the brain. The anterior accommodates the frontal lobes of the brain. The middle, as we already said, and we also already discussed, the pituitary gland medially. Laterally, we have temporal lobes of the brain. Now, for the posterior part of, or the posterior cranial fossa, write down, it accommodates the brainstem and cerebellum. The brainstem and cerebellum. And let me know when you guys are ready. The posterior cranial fossa accommodates the brainstem and the cerebellum. The brainstem and the cerebellum. Okay. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, borders. Borders of the posterior cranial fossa.
Should we draw it?
Sorry?
Should we draw it?
You can draw it if you want. It's shaped like this black one here. Okay. Borders. Before we discuss the borders, first I want to tell you the floor of it. So the floor is made up of mastoid part of the temporal bone. Mastoid part of the temporal bone, which is this here. Mastoid part of the temporal bone. Okay. And the squamous part of the temporal bone. I think they're referring to some parts that extend like this. So just know mastoid part and the squamous part of the mastoid part of the temporal bone, okay? The squamous part of the occipital bone, the condylar part of the occipital bone, and the basilar part of the occipital bone. So the posterior cranial fossa floor is made up of mastoid part of the temporal bone here, and squamous, condylar, basilar parts of the occipital bone. Okay? That's the floor.
What was the last one after condylar?
You have a basilar or basilar. Mastoid part of temporal bone, squamous, condylar, and basilar parts of occipital bone. That's the floor. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Now, I want you to, now the borders, okay? First, we're going to discuss anteromedially. Anteromedially, this part only, here. Anteromedially. Anteromedially, we have dorsum sellae of the sphenoid bone. We know it. Dorsum sellae of the sphenoid bone. And remember, guys, an important point, maybe put a note on the side. The posterior border of the middle cranial fossa is the same as the anterior border of the posterior cranial fossa. Again, the posterior border of the middle cranial fossa is the same as the anterior border of the posterior cranial fossa. Nastya, I know you want to leave, okay? I will finish quickly, hopefully. Okay. Anteromedially, dorsum sellae of sphenoid bone. Done?
Yeah.
Anterolaterally, superior border of petrosal part of temporal, or just say petrosal part of temporal. If you want to be more specific, superior border of the petrous part. So just say petrous part of temporal bone, anterolaterally. Here, you have an edge. This is the petrous part of temporal. But the specific edge is the superior part of the petrous part of temporal bone. Okay, that's anterolaterally. Anteromedially, dorsum sellae. Anterolaterally, petrous part of temporal bone. Posteriorly, here, posteriorly. Posteriorly, internal surface of squamous part of occipital bone. Internal surface of squamous part of occipital bone. Okay, this is the squamous part of occipital, so the internal surface of it forms the posterior part of occipital. Okay, borders are done. We have contents and foramina left. Okay, contents. Contents, we wrote already that it houses brainstem and cerebellum, we know that. But contents. We have foramen magnum. Foramen magnum. Foramen magnum, okay? Structures, we already said brainstem, cerebellum. You can add medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. These are contents, okay? There isn't so much shit here, but yeah.
Can you repeat, please, after foramen magnum?
Foramen magnum, okay? And so now what it houses, it's not really contents in the bony structure, but what lives inside is brainstem, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Pons, if you want to add pons. Okay? Okay. Finally, foramina. 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 First, you have the internal acoustic meatus. Internal acoustic meatus. It's probably here.
I mean, foramen magnum
Yeah.
is also part of the foramen, all right?
Yes, yes, of course. But we have to be specific. Number one, temporal bone foraminas. Temporal bone foraminas here. You have internal acoustic meatus. Internal acoustic meatus.
Where is located?
Yes, I'll show you. I will get a more labeled one. Meatus. Show you. Just give me a second. Internal acoustic meatus. Yes, it's here. This one. This is internal acoustic meatus. Here. You see
Got
my...
it. Thank
Yes. Okay. Internal acoustic meatus. Good.
Yeah.
Then we have the foraminas in the occipital bone. Very quickly, because you guys want to go. Occipital bone. Number one, foramen magnum. Foramen magnum. Good. Clivus, which is this one. So you have foramen magnum, you have clivus. We're talking about occipital bone parts. Magnum, clivus. Okay? Dorsum sellae. It's not foramen, but you know what I mean. But just parts, important parts. Foramen magnum. You have clivus. You have dorsum sellae. But foramina, again, we're talking about foramen. So foramen magnum, jugular foramen, jugular foramen, jugular foramen, hypoglossal canal. We will revise everything later. I'll tell you in details. Hypoglossal canal. Okay, there we go. We're done. So jugular foramen, hypoglossal canal, and foramen magnum. These are three main foraminas in the posterior cranial fossa, and you're done. And wait, just one last thing. Hopefully, you can look at it. Oh, sorry. Here. There. So here, foramen magnum, internal acoustic meatus, as we said, jugular foramen, hypoglossal canal, and these are the main structures in the posterior cranial fossa. Good?
Yeah.
Good? Everything amazing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, you're done. You can go. You have anterior, middle, posterior, and we did the pterygopalatine. So all of those things, they fit around each other. We're done for today. Have a very nice day, and message me if you need anything, okay?
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good evening. Bye.